So, good morning, everyone. This is Kristiina Hormia-Poutanen from Helsinki calling. I would have liked to be there, but as you possibly know, my flight was cancelled. Lufthansa is on strike, and that's why I couldn't join you this morning. When I'm looking out from the window in Helsinki, it's very grey. We have a little bit of snow, so I saw people throwing snowballs. So I presume the weather is a bit different in Ljubljana at the moment. Okay, so I am Kristiina from the National Library of Finland. I'm also the former president of LIBE, member of the Open Science Policy Platform, and also member of the Digital Cultural Heritage Expert Group, which is similar kind of a group than the Open Science Policy Platform, and I'm also at DORA Advisory Board. Some words first about my expertise here in Finland. I am the service director at the National Library, and my responsibilities are the national infrastructure services for libraries, archives, museums, and also to some other public organizations. So we develop, for example, licensing. So we want to foster open science, open access. We develop discovery services, really wanting to promote access to open content and also other types of content. We develop library systems, institutional repositories, so many different services, and we have a very large network here in the country. So my work at national level sort of helps me very much with the international tasks and vice versa. So these all sort of support each other, and I have been very, very happy in having the possibilities also to be active at international forum. Before I forget, I'd like to congratulate the Central Technical Library. I understand that you are celebrating the 70-year anniversary, so this is quite a long way. You have been developing the services. So my sincere congratulations for you. Let me see how I can now move on with my presentation. It's not moving. How could I get the next slide? If I do it this way, is it okay for you if I do it this way? Otherwise it's not moving. Okay, I just continue. First of all, here I have a description of what open science is. This is by the Open Science Policy Platform, part of our integrated advice done in 2018. And the important message in this slide is that open science is collaborative, transparent, and reproducible. And the outputs are publicly available. I think this is quite a nice description on our challenges and our goals regarding open science. So my agenda today is here. So I will tell you a bit about the Open Science Policy Platform, some words about our outcomes of the platform, then what we are doing in Finland regarding open science, regarding national licensing, then some words about the role of libraries and conclusions. First, I start with the Open Science Policy Platform. There was quite some history behind the formation of the platform. You all remember, I believe, the public consultation in 2014. At that time, it was called Science 2.0, Science in Transition. But based on the consultation after that, we have called this approach open science. And as you see, there has been quite a systematic progress. The Open Science Policy Platform was formed in 2016. And now we are on our second mandate, which will come to its end in May next year. So the mandate of the Open Science Policy Platform during both of its mandates is to advise the Commission, and especially during the second mandate, our task is to practically implement the open science policy agenda and really foster open science in practical terms. Also to improve the quality and impact of European science, identify related stakeholders. We have 25 high-level representatives of the European open science stakeholders forming the platform. And as I mentioned, our term is until May 2020. The priorities of Open Science Policy Platform are listed here. So we have 8 priority areas. The Commission also has set up a couple of high-level expert groups which have published their recommendations. And 2 of the very, very important high-level expert group reports are those related to EOSC and also related to FAIR. We also are waiting to get the high-level expert report on indicators and citizen science published. So also Open Science Policy Platform produces recommendations, and the optimal way we are working is really to rely on our recommendations on the high-level expert reports. So to mention something about the priority areas, I would say that perhaps the biggest issue which still is open is related to rewards and metrics. So everybody would like to see some new ways to measure open science, to measure the impact and to change the reward system. And this is under progress, but we don't have anything concrete yet. And I'm sure all stakeholders desperately would need to see something in this area. But we'll have to wait still. Open Science Policy Platform published its recommendations in spring 2018. And I still think the recommendations are very much valid, so I'd recommend you to have a look on those recommendations. You can see the link at the bottom of this slide. And this slide is to show how we formulated the recommendations. So we are using icons to represent stakeholders. So we have provided recommendations related to the 8 priority areas, and we are using these icons. We inform sort of which stakeholders should be active in fulfilling those recommendations. This is an example of open scholarly publishing. And you see that our recommendation in 2018 was to proceed with the immediate open access and full text and data mining rights. And this is very, very strongly on our agenda still at the moment, as you well know. Some of the outcomes, especially of our second mandate, are listed here, but we are still working on this. So we will publish the final outcome in around April next spring. But here you have some taste of our recommendations. We still believe that and think that the recommendations of 2018, they are strongly valid. So this is one strong outcome of this platform. And also all the events which have been organized by different open science policy platform members. So we have the universities, we have the research infrastructures, we have the IT developers and libraries. I'm the only one representing libraries. So all these stakeholders, they have been organizing events for their own stakeholder groups, and then also horizontally to various stakeholders. And these workshops and conferences and seminars, they have really helped in raising awareness of open science, and also get people active in implementing open science practices in different fields. Many of open science policy platform members have been giving lectures at this kind of workshops you are having today in Ljubljana. And that's why we discussed last time we had our meeting that this focus on open science workshops also sort of form part of the outreach activities of the policy platform as well. In addition to these workshops, we have had EU presidency meetings in the Netherlands, Estonia, Romania and Finland, and we have had our open science policy platform meetings there, and also have had the possibility to present some of our ideas. As I'm the former president of LIBER, so of course open science has been very strongly on the agenda of LIBER conferences, and it was an honor for LIBER that the French Open Science Plan was published at LIBER annual conference in Lille. So it was the Minister of Education and Research in France who published the Open Science Plan. Of course, at the RDA meetings and other conferences, events and workshops. So as I said, we will publish the final outcome next year, but this is some ideas we have when working on the outcomes. Okay, then I'm moving to open science in Finland. Also in Finland, we have quite a long history related to developing open science infrastructures and practices. The first program was between 2010 and 2013, and it was about analyzing and finding out what kind of scientific outputs there are in the country and in which formats, and how we need to handle this kind of outputs. The next phase was the Open Science and Research Initiative, which lasted between 2014 and 2017. The vision of this initiative was open research leads to surprising discoveries and creative insights. The initiative was very much about concerning publications, data and methods, and also it was found out that the culture within research organizations would need to change really to be able to implement open science. So these two initiatives, which lasted altogether 8 years, they were coordinated by the Ministry of Education and Culture. And after these two initiatives, now the ministry has informed that research institutions themselves need to take responsibility over open science development and implementation. And that's why the Finnish University Rectors Council, they published their action plan in 2018, sort of saying what kind of activities the university rectors see are most important in this respect. And also, as the consequence of the decision at the ministry, national coordination of open science in Finland was organized, and the mandate was given to the Federation of the Finnish Learned Societies. So they are not part of any research institution, and that's why it was considered that they are suitable for taking this kind of responsibility. They are independent from the Ministry of Education, they are independent from research organizations. And the method they have chosen is very collaborative, so all research organizations have been invited to participate their work. So the National Coordination of Open Science the mandate has been given to the Federation of Learned Societies, and they have formed different kind of working groups and strategy groups, and you can see here a list of national policy papers which will be published either this year or in the coming years. There will be an open science declaration. It's, I would say it's early next year. It looks at the moment like that. Then there will be national open access guidelines, and these for sure will be published this year. There will be research evaluation guidelines, fair data guidelines, and open education guidelines. So these have been the main focus areas of the national coordination in Finland. I have had the privilege also to be involved in this work, and I see that I'm sure it will have quite a strong impact in Finland and hope also internationally. All these papers will be translated into English and of course in Swedish, which is our second language. So the aim is really to provide this kind of national policy papers and get signatures from research organizations that they will start implementing these guidelines. This has been one task, and other tasks of the national coordination is really to improve collaboration and synergy, to get more dialogue, and also have dialogue with the research funding organizations. I mentioned that the University Rectors Council, they also drafted their action plan. And this is in a nutshell what they say it is important. The rectors said that it is really necessary to have a coordinating body in Finland to coordinate open science activities across research organizations and other stakeholders. They also focus on the culture of openness. There needs to be changes within research organizations so that researchers, teachers, students, decision makers, they really foster the culture of openness. Fair research data is one priority, and open publication is another. And of course, we all need to have new measures to measure the progress in different fields of open science. In Finland, as you might know, we also are lucky that we have open science infrastructures at national level. These have been developed over the years, over perhaps last 10 years. And here is a draft or an image of what kind of infrastructures we have. Quite many of these are developed and maintained by the IT Science of Research, CSC, which you might know, but there are also other institutions which are developing and maintaining these infrastructures. I'd like to mention the FINELIP, so it's the service by the National Library of Finland. So this is about national licensing and now about transformative agreements. We also have our discovery portal Finna, which is also shown in the figure, and also our national ontology service Finto, which is also on the figure. But if you'd like to remember something, my main message is that we have quite many research infrastructures already in Finland, and now the key issue is how to integrate these infrastructures to European level infrastructures so that the workflows would be very good for the research. And as part of the open science coordination and open science activities in Finland, we organized open science coordination meeting last month here in Finland, in Helsinki and in Espoo. The representatives from the European member states and open science policy platform and people from the EOSC governing board were invited to this open science coordination meeting. We had some 80 participants in this meeting, and the outcome of the meeting was that the network of European open science coordinators were formed, and now it looks like that the Commission will nominate a Council of European Open Science Coordinations, which would have about the same role as the Open Science Policy Platform has currently. So in Finland, we are really happy that this happened. So this was our aim for the meeting, and now it was really good timing, as we have also some other countries which have organized already open science coordination, for example, Netherlands and France, and in Ireland also something is happening. But in many countries, there is strong interest. So at our meeting in Helsinki, we had 21 countries present, and all of them seem to be really interested in the open science coordination. Okay, and now I move to national licensing. I have spent quite a lot of my time already, but to make it short, I'm sure that you all are very well aware of the Plan S. So I don't go into details in this. I know that also Slovenia was one of the first signatories of Plan S, as was also Finland. So it was very good to notice this. But now my point here is sort of how Plan S and our national guidelines support our licensing. And the Finnish Rectors Council, they have endorsed the negotiation goals of our national licensing unit, Finelip. And our main goals here are affordable price and immediate open access. And our rectors support this. And what is also good for us is that rectors want to get more involved in the discussions and decision making regarding the contract. So we will get members from the UNIFI joining our steering committee. And we have to remember that when we negotiate the transformative deals, the only really strong word to publishers is that we have the right to cancel contracts. This is really, in the end, this is the only very, very strong sentence we can have, a strong message we can have to publishers. And as you see, our rectors support us, and they understand that we have to be prepared to cancel deals if we don't reach our goals. Okay, so if we need to cancel our deals, of course we need to give our researchers support in finding ways to content. And our Finelip service unit, they have created a web page where they show what kind of alternative access routes there are for content. And of course, we need to communicate sort of the legal ways to access content. We know that researchers might use some other channels, but of course we are fostering those good channels. And of course one good channel is the scientific communication between researchers. So the researchers can share content between themselves. So how far have we gone with our transformative agreements? We have 2 agreements where we have 100% full immediate open access. So they are Springer and Royal Chemical Society. We have negotiations going on with Wiley and Sage, and they kind of look positive. So that's why they are mentioned here. And we have also some other negotiations going on where we hope to see this 100% open access goal happening. We have many deals where we have partial open access publishing rights, for example, ACS. And then in some deals we have discounted APCs, for example, Elsevier. We have no deal for this year with Taylor and Francis, and we are just now negotiating with them. And at this point, it does not look very, very good, but we don't know the end result yet. Now it seems that several publishers, they don't want to give perpetual access to content, and this is one of our concerns, that we want to guarantee that sustainable access to content is possible. And as a summary to mention, Plan S gives strong support to our negotiations. In this slide, you can see how many articles have been published in open access in 2018. And in the next one, you see how many articles have been published in 2018 via different publisher routes. And of course, those where we have 100% open access possibility, they are leading. The figures for this year will look better, but of course now we are still in November, so we don't have the figures for this year yet. So at the end, some words about LIBER. LIBER is the Network of European Research Libraries. It was founded in 1971. And actually now it covers about 500 libraries in 40 countries. And I checked how many libraries we have in Slovenia at the moment, and you can see the list of Slovenian libraries at LIBER. This is the strategy of LIBER and how we see the research landscape in 2022, which is the end year of the current strategy. And as you can see, we are focusing very strongly open science. Science here, different sort of angles of open science. Open access, fair data, transparency, research infrastructures, and digital information, which is tomorrow's cultural heritage. In addition to our strategy, we'd like to mention Open Science Roadmap, which was published in 2018 as well. You might get some good ideas from the roadmap. If you are not members of LIBER, I strongly advise you to join. LIBER can support libraries in many ways, and here you can see some forms of support we give to LIBER organizations. At the Open Science Roadmap, we listed 3 key principles which we understand are very important in implementing open science. And these 3 key principles are transparency, sustainability, and collaboration. And I'd guess most of you can agree on these. Also in the roadmap there are recommendations, 30 recommendations, and here I have listed some, perhaps 8. I don't go into detail in this, but you can get the feeling, so what kind of recommendations we have there. And as said, you can find the roadmap on web, and also I provided you the link so you can study these in more detail. And this is my conclusion. So all stakeholders have to be active to make open science happen. This is about collaboration. Thank you very much. I'm happy to